It. Hello and welcome to another IELTS speaking practice video by IELTS Johnny. So today Miss Thư is going to do her speaking practice. So Miss Thư, please, let's start with part one first. And let's start with topic number 16, remembering people's names. So is it easy to remember the names of people? What do you think?
Well, I think for me it is not easy to remember the names of people because I think I have a bad memory, and when it comes to memorizing things, especially names, uh, I always ha- I always forget their names. I only remember them after like a few times talking to them.
I see. What do you do to help you remember people's names better?
Well, I think uh, a method that I use when I need to remember people's names is I try to recall their face when I want to remember the name because each person has a distinctive face facial features, and when I can remember that, well, I think I can remember the names.
I see. So will you forget other people's names if they also forget your name? What do you think?
Well, I think maybe it depends. Sometimes I actually do forget other people's names, and they also forget my name, but sometimes I just kind of pretend to forget the names when they also don't remember my name because
It's
I
like a
think,
little bit, it's like a little vengeance when
yeah,
you, like a little vengeance. Giống như là tôi trả thù ai biểu không nhớ tên tôi. It's like a little vengeance. That's funny. So, do you think it's important to remember people's names?
to be honest, I think it is quite important to remember people's name because when you remember someone's name, it means that like you actually care about them, that you actually pay attention to them, and I think maybe that will like help you to develop some kind of relationships with them. So I think it is quite important.
I see. Now, so name is actually something that parents give to us as a first gift when we greet life, when we start to come out of the mother's womb, you know, when we first come out of our mother's womb, or basically stomach or whatever. When we first come out of the mother's womb, our family, our father and mother gave it to us as a first gift. And to a lot of people, they say that if people remember their names, it would make them feel a little bit better. So it's just a simple fact. Now, so how do you feel when people cannot remember your name?
Well, I actually don't like it when people forget my name because I think remembering my name is kind of important when they want to like because I feel like if they remember my name, it means that they actually pay attention to me. And but I think sometimes it is okay for some people who like cannot remember name easily. So yeah, Sometimes it upsets me, but sometimes it's okay.
It depends on the case. It depends on the situation. I think it also depends on their tone, their attitude as well, you know. If their attitude is not good and then they don't remember your names, it's much easier to get angry with them, I think. Now, do any names have special meanings in your country? So this question, you can answer in many different ways. Like you can talk about males or female names in your country and what they mean. Think about um think about girl with the name TRAN, you know. So probably their parents would like their children to be trang nhã, to be elegant, you know. And if people name their children with the name what name? What are the names?
Mm.
Huy, you know, it's a very popular male name in Vietnam. Huy. It means glory, glorious or something like that. To have a glory, có vinh quang, hiển vinh, glory, you know, huy hoàng. Okay, for example, what do you think? Do any names have special meanings in your country?
Well, I think
Or
maybe I think
yes?
I think each name has its own special meanings.
Mm-hmm,
Because when parents like name their child, they have to take the names into serious consideration
mm-hmm.
in order to like give their children the best name with the most meaningful with the mo- with the most meaningful names. So I
I
think
see.
yeah, each name has its own special meaning in my country for
Mm,
both
I see.
male and female.
Right, I see. So that's about number 16. Right, let's try to do some other topics now. Let's talk about color, shall we? So what's your favorite color?
Well, I think my favorite color is blue, like the blue in the sky or in the ocean. I think it when I like look at this color, I feel a sense of peaceful, and I think it gives me
The sense of peace, the sense of peace.
yeah, a sense of peace, and it gives me some uh, relaxed feeling.
A feeling of relaxation, you mean?
Yeah, yeah, a feeling of relaxation.
Hmm, I see. So what's the color you dislike and why?
Maybe I think I dislike the color red because, I mean, in my opinion, I think it's too bright and sometimes it's. I think I just don't like the color because it's too sometimes it's bright and is also like related to blood, and I don't really like that.
I see. Now, do you prefer dark or bright colors then?
I think I prefer bright colors, but just light, because I think bright colors give me like it. It makes me feel more cheerful than the dark colors. It has the good vibes. It makes me feel like it makes me feel fun, and in fun and
Makes you feel fun.
just
Sometimes dark colors can make some people feel gloomy, like gloomy, sad and depressing. It can be sad or depressing. But bright colors sometimes it makes you feel more energetic, yeah. But no, sometimes it can makes you really agitated. It doesn't calm you down. Okay, so let's try it again. Do you prefer dark or bright colors?
well, I prefer bright colors because I think they make me feel more energetic and enthusiastic those about everything.
Mhm.
But the dark colors, I think they make me feel a bit gloomy, it gives me a depressing vibe, and I think that's not what I want when I look at any color, dark
Hmm.
color.
I see. Right. So, what colors are the walls of the rooms in your home and why? What do you think?
Well, actually, the color my of the walls in my rooms are pink, light
Light
pink.
pink? Hmm.
Yeah.
I used to have light
Actually,
pink wall.
it I have actually I chose this color when I was like 5 or 6, and I have been in this room since. So, yeah, I haven't changed it since that uh, since I was a child. But if I could change, I think I would choose blue, of course.
See. So I think what shade of blue? Because there are many shades of blue. Some are just looking really cheap, but some they look really chic. Có nhiều cái shade of blue nó nhìn nó sang trọng lắm. Like for example, you know the shade of blue called royal blue. This is a shade of blue that it's very famous. A lot of people like this shade of blue. Maybe you would prefer to have a look, maybe. Check it out. This, I think, is a classic royal blue interior. You can look at this one. This shade of blue, it makes people feel calm and also it's very chic as well. It doesn't look cheap. But some other shade of blue lighter, I would not recommend it. It doesn't look that right. And for example, we have green, royal green as well, I think. It's the same thing. If you choose color that is too light, okay, it will not look chic, will not look expensive, and will make your house look cheaper, something like that. So have to be careful. Now, so sorry. So do you know that what color your friends like most?
Uh, my friends, my friends like a variety of colors. It can be green, red, pink, or blue or yellow. And each one of them have, I think it's because they bring about the emotions that my friends kind of related
Kind
to.
of,
So
kind of.
that's why they have a preference for those colors.
Mhm. I see. Now, so do you think colors reflect people's personality? Like, for example, if people are, if some people are like this and that, they like this kind of color and that kind of color, something like that. Bạn có nghĩ màu sắc phản ánh tính cách con người không? So let's give some examples. If people who like green more, they're much more likely to love peace, and then some say that they can lead people better, I think. Or if say people who like blue color, they're more creative. Something like that, I think. Do you think colors reflect people's personality?
Yeah, I think that colors do reflect people's personalities in some way. For example, when people have a preference for the color green, they may they may be peaceful or they may be peaceful people, and uh, it is also believed that they can lead people well. And other people who like and some other people who like pink, they may be dreamy, um, they may be dreamy and they like really sweet. I think so.
Okay. So do you think different colors have different meanings? Like, for example, people often say that yellow is the color of wisdom, or is the color of people who always betray the others, No fanboy. Well, but I don't think of yellow as a bad color at all. What do you think about this one? Do you think different colors have different meanings?
Well, I think in different cultures, different colors do have their own meanings. Maybe with red, it people think red can be a little strong and maybe rebellious, but and colors like yellow, uh, and colors like yellow, it can be a, it can be it can mean wisdom.
It
And
can, sorry, what does it mean?
yeah, it can mean wisdom or green. It can be about peace and um, it can be about peace and no, just peace.
Hmm. All right, so think about white. A lot of people they choose white in Vietnam for their walls, and they think that it would make their home look, how can I say, more valuable because white it's a color that makes everything more chic, I think. Nó làm mọi thứ nó sang hơn maybe. But a lot of people they just love that their home is so white, always white, white, white. And I don't personally like this trend at all because I love colors. Now, so what do you think about color white?
I think it's pretty neutral. I don't really have any specific thought about it. I think I don't like it too much, but I yeah, but I sometimes I think it's pretty
Yes.
in some cases I think it's a pretty good color.
hmm Okay, so is there any color that have special meaning in your country? Like, for example, why the color red and the color yellow is used a lot during like Lunar New Year in Vietnam, for example, or why during Mid-Autumn Festival, during Mid-Autumn Festival, people use red a lot too. And during Christmas, What color did they use? Did they have any special meaning in your country, something like that?
Well, in my country, I think red and yellow are the colors that have a special meaning. As I mean, they are the colors in my country's flag. And moreover, they believe, many people believe that red represents luck and happiness, as and we can always see people wearing red on during Tet holiday.
Mhm.
Yeah, and yellow represents um, pros- prosperity and wisdom. And these
Prosperity
two,
is the right word, I think.
yeah, prosperity.
Prosperity, because everyone wants to be rich. Of course, who doesn't?
Yeah,
Okay. Any other color?
maybe no. I think just two colors.
Okay. Well, during funeral, people often wear white in Vietnam, but in other country, people wear black. It's weird. I mean, and in wedding, people after in wedding, the bride almost always wear white, because people think that she's still a virgin. It's like it to represent the fact that the wife is still a virgin, but a lot of cases it is not. But I don't think it matters that much. It's just a tradition, I think. Okay, so let's try part two now. Um, let's do 12. Describe a film that made you laugh. Miêu tả một bộ phim làm cho bạn cười phá lên cười. A film that made you laugh. You should say what it is, phim gì vậy, when you watched it.
Actually, I think we did it
We did it
before.
already? Really?
Yeah.
Oh yes, of course, we did. Let's try. I cannot use. Okay, let's try 13. And have you worked before?
No, I haven't.
Let's try this one eventually because you have to do it anyway. Describe a company that employs many people. Miêu tả một công ty mà nó thuê mướn rất nhiều người. You should say what it does. Công ty làm gì? How many people it employs? What kind of people work there? Like, for example, what field? And what are their abilities? Những người có khả năng gì? Họ học ở đâu? Chẳng hạn. And explain how you feel about it. You can describe your future company that you want to work for, or any company that you know. And then part three of companies. Should big companies be punished more seriously if they break the law? Những công ty lớn có nên bị trừng phạt một cách nghiêm khắc hơn nếu họ phạm luật không? Think about the fact that companies often break laws in many different ways. For example, they evade tax, trốn thuế most of the time. That's the problem. And think about the fact that they they do not pay their employee according to the law. They do not pay their employees well according to the law. Like, for example, the benefits, in the benefit there are benefits when working for a company, but it has to be according to the law, It has to it has to abide it has to abide by the law. Nó bắt buộc phải tuân theo luật pháp. Like, for example, in Vietnam, probation. Okay, I think there's something you need to know too. Um, thời gian thử việc. Okay, look at something. There are some images that I remember. here. Like for example, this is the requirement in Vietnam. I think you need to know. Oh, I will not go there. Okay, so when you get to a workplace, you will have to go through a probation period in which they will give you a job, and then it's a trial. It's like a trial time, a trying time for you. And maximum probation period, it depends on your level. It depends on your level of academic qualification. Like for example, if you don't have a graduate degree, or if you do not have a bachelor degree yet, then the probation is about maximum 60 days or 2 months. Oh, sorry. If you are if you are having a bachelor degree and more than that, maximum 60-day probation. But below that is only 30 days, and other work is just 6 days, you know. So companies cannot ask for like a 3 months or 4 month probation. Why? Because probation period, they only allow to pay you like 70 to 80% of your actual salary, you know. Từ việc người ta phải trả có bao nhiêu đâu, 78% cái lương sở của em thôi. But some companies, they increase that time to about 6 months of probation, which is too much, you know. Nó giống như lạm dụng luật á. It's like a way that they evade the law. So this is something you must know, okay? For your salary, probation, it's basically bigger or equal to 85% of your actual salary. See, this is 85%, not what I said here. Lương bắt buộc thư viện phải lớn hơn bằng 1.5% lương chính thức nha. Because a lot of people, they will try to make it like 60, 70% or even worse than that, you know. Of course, just to evade the law. And then there's a 3 days period, like before you finish your probation, the company has to inform you about the result. Like after probation, are you not able to work there, or you can sign a work contract to sign a work contract or not. You know, they have to let you know. And also, there are other things you must know about the law in Vietnam too, because eventually you will work here, or maybe later. Now, so the question, back to the question, should big companies be punished more seriously if they break the law? Of course, if they think they're big companies, and of course the law cannot do much to them, of course they can. And the law always, there can be policemen coming to companies to check whether they follow or whether they abide by the law or not. So think about the fact that a lot of companies in Vietnam, they do not follow these labor law. It's called labor law, luật lao động. They do not follow, they do not abide by the labor law well. And of course, they will be punished with money, monetary punishment. They will punish with money, like some millions, up to I think up to 1 billion Vietnam dong, something like that in some cases. But do you think companies should be punished more seriously? Okay, it's up to you, and you have to also think about why they should be punished more seriously. So should big companies donate more to charities? Những công ty lớn có nên quyên góp nhiều hơn cho từ thiện không? Think about the amount of money. Think about the profit that they make. The profit that they make through their work, you know. And So because of that, they have enough money to donate to charities to help the poor people. And think about the fact that companies almost always, almost always exploit their workforce. Công ty thì gần như luôn 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 á, gần như luôn luôn là bóc lột sức lao động của lực lao động của nó. Of course, it doesn't matter where you work for, they will almost always try to exploit their workforce to work so hard and pay little, So of course they should donate more to charities, no? It's like a social responsibility. Giống như trách nhiệm xã hội đó. Okay. And what are the good and bad things about working for a big company? Có những điều tốt và điều xấu gì khi làm việc cho một công ty lớn? Think about if you work for a big company, you have to meet so many different people. And when there are so many people, there will be some kind of clans, Nó chia ra thành nhiều cái giống cái băng nhóm trong cái công ty đó. It's like there are many different clans of people. This one is especially true like when you work for like very big companies that employ more than 100 people. Những công ty mà thuê hơn trăm người là đảm bảo chắc chắn nó chia rất nhiều nhiều cái nhóm nhỏ trong công ty mày. So think about the fact that there will be a lot of workplace drama and workplace politics. Chính trị trong nơi làm việc, drama nơi làm việc. Of course, it's the same thing as when you're in a school, but much bigger. Think about the fact that big companies will often have a good image. And of course, if you work for them, you can enjoy that. Nhiều người ở Việt Nam họ thích cái kiểu mà giống như tôi làm việc công ty lớn, nó đem lại cái tiếng tăm á, mình hưởng ké. It's like some people in Vietnam, they always think that you work for a big companies, you enjoy a good image, just as a company. Like for example, everyone wants to work for Apple or for uh, or Microsoft or something like that, or Google. That's what a good image means. So think about a big companies, they often take care of their employees a bit better, and they might not go bankrupt easily. They don't go bankrupt easily if they are big. But if you have a company that is very small, it's easy to go bankrupt. Công ty nhỏ thường là dễ phá sản hơn á. Công ty lớn thì thường là nó có chống lưng hoặc là có một cái gì đó để mà nó giúp cho nó đỡ phá sản. So, and of course, that will be a more stable. You will have a more stable career there, of course. And of course, there's a bad thing about working for bad companies. It's, of course, like I said, workplace politics, workplace drama, and small companies or big companies. There's always a chance of they not paying you on time, not being paid on time. Of course, a lot of the time they don't pay you on time, and people have to sue them. Workers sue the company because of not being paid on time. That happens a lot of the time. Kiện luôn á, tại vì bị nợ lương á. A lot of things happen like that. And then next questions, I think about the work environment as well. In a big companies, it takes a long time to get work done. Because why? You have to go through many levels. Like for example, if there's a problem, you have to report to someone higher than you, and that higher than you will decide and then report to someone higher than him. And then it takes a long time to get work done. Cái công ty càng bự thì càng xử lý công việc càng chậm, tại vì nó có nhiều cái vấn đề về giao tiếp á. Alright, so Next question. What are the big differences between big companies and small companies? What are the differences between big companies and small companies? Công ty nhỏ, công ty lớn có khác nhau gì? Of course, beside from their size. Think about what I just said to you. I think most of the cases, big companies are more likely to, how can I say, they're more likely to be able to send their workers to another country to work. You know, they always do that, to send their workers to another country to work. And of course, workers will enjoy working in a different company, in a different environment, in a different country. That's a plus. But of course, there's a minus because workers will have to work so hard, you know. If they work for big companies, they will be circulate to circulate the workers between branches and countries. Những công ty lớn thường làm như thế này, giống như kiểu mà nó xoay vòng á, xoay vòng nhân công á, giữa những cái chi nhánh và những đất nước á. So they often circulate the workers between branches and countries, so you feel like you don't have the control. Mình không kiểm soát được. And you always, it's hard to say no to a country, you know. Sorry, it's hard to say no to a big company because they may fire you. Or some people they feel that it's harder to say no to a big company than a small company, you know. Công ty nhỏ mình nói không, tôi không làm đâu. Tôi muốn ở lại đây còn hơn. Còn công ty lớn mà em nói no, cái là coi chừng em bị mất việc chẳng hạn. I mean, some people they feel like that. But it's not something that is official, không phải cái gì đó mà nó chính thức đâu. But sometimes you feel like you don't have the control of your life if you work for big companies, I think. But for small companies, of course, they sometimes they have more flexible work hours. And you can come and go whenever you want, as long as the work is finished. I mean, as long as you do enough work for the day, as long as you run a deadline and you meet a deadline, you can come and go anytime you want. That's called flexible work hours. But for big companies, there are rules and regulations, you know. Nó có những cái nội quy và quy định và cái quy định và riêng của nó. So you have to follow strictly that, and then you won't have flexible work hours at all. So sometimes it's harder. Okay, think about what I just said about small companies are much less competitive on the market. Nếu mà em công ty nhỏ, em sẽ ít có khả năng cạnh tranh hơn trên thị trường rất là nhiều luôn á. Because think about the fact that big companies, they often got good deals. They often got good deals on production, on many things. So they have lower prices for their products and services. Sản phẩm và các gói, các thứ của họ nó cũng rẻ hơn nữa. They lower prices for their products and services compared to small companies. And of course, they are more competitive on the market, big companies. So it makes small companies harder to survive. Nó làm cho những công ty nhỏ khó mà sống còn lắm luôn á. It's difficult. Please. All right, so next question. Should companies and corporations have the responsibility to take care of its workforce? Những công ty và những tập đoàn có nên có cái nghĩa vụ chăm sóc cái lực lượng lao động của nó không? Think about this one. I think you know the answer for this one. Try to expand the answer, okay? Think about what would happen if your workforce, if someone leave the job, if someone quit. Nếu ai đó ngừng công làm đó, if someone quits, what would happen? The company has to recruit new employees And of course, they have to train new recruits. They have to train new workers. And that costs money and time, a lot of money and time as well. Because worker training, it is expensive, you know. Okay, so think about the fact that if your workforce is not happy, they might not be able to work productively. You don't want that, right? You don't want your workforce to not work productively, because if they don't work productively, your company can miss a deadline, lỡ mất một cái hạn chót deadline. And of course, it can cost you important clients. It can cost your company important clients and customers. Nó có thể làm cho công ty mình bị mất đi những cái khách hàng quan trọng đó. And that is a loss, a big loss. Think about the fact that if the workforce is not happy, when they quit the job, they can let the others know how bad your company cultures are. They can let people know that your work culture is not good. You know, nghĩ xong cái nói xấu công ty gặp hoài luôn á. In Vietnam, a lot of people, they quit the job and they talk bad about their um, previous company. Of course, that happens all the time. And there's a reason why they quit. There's a reason why they talk bad. Lúc nào cũng có lý do tại sao họ lại nói xấu. Công ty cũng chẳng hiền. Okay, so please talk about this one. I'll give you some time to think. All right, Miss Thư, please describe a company that employs many people. Can you?
So, a company that employs many people I would like to talk about is Apple. Well, it's a multinational corporation
Mhm.
located in America. There it designs and sells electronics, computer software, and many online services. And I had read an article that it hire about 100,000 people each year, which is a an extremely large amount of people. And there are all kinds of people who work there. There are Americans and also foreign employees. And in the company peoples, there are people who create new devices, and there are people who sell the products. And I think working in this company will give me a chance to improve myself.
Mhm.
I am really impressed by the size and the fame of the company.
Mhm.
I think if I work there, I will have a bigger chance to. I think I can develop my career path. Chances to meet. I have chances to meet great people who can help me a lot in my in my daily life, and I think I can gain a lot of experience from that.
Mhm. I see. So, should big companies be punished more seriously if they break the law? What do you think?
Well, I think that big companies definitely should be punished more seriously if they break the law.
Mhm.
Well, big companies usually break laws like labor law, and
Mhm.
or maybe they produce bad quality products, and some of them
Products, bad quality
products
products.
products, and sometimes they cause harm to the consumers.
Mm-hmm.
And all these law breaking law breakings can result in uh, result in
Yes.
the well-being of people.
Mm-hmm.
So, it can cause. There are many cases of companies of producing drugs, medicines that are not that are not uh, authentic, and
Okay.
people use them, and then they have serious problems, and there are also some cases of death. So I think if big companies break the law, they should be punished more seriously, as
Okay.
maybe monetary punishment, in order to like set a good example for other companies, and also for and also in order to set a good example for other companies, and also for that company itself, in order to
Mm-hmm.
so that they will have better strategy of organizing their company.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Right. So just to set an example, right? To set an example là giống như là kiểu mà như là một cái tấm gương rồi đó. You know, to set an example, if you do not punish big companies more seriously, other companies will keep on doing that, you know, and that is bad. All right, so should big companies donate more to charities?
Yeah, from my perspective, I think that big companies should donate more to charities. Uh, as a matter of fact, big companies mean that they gain a lot of profits from selling their products. So when so it's also their social responsibility to like help the poor, help maybe even help their own employees who are not as fortunate as others.
Mm-hmm.
This can help like to create much a friendlier environment, and also um, and it it also help people to like have a good image about those big companies,
Mm-hmm.
about the contribution they made to the society. So I think big companies should donate more to charities.
All right, so what are the good and bad things about working for big companies then?
Well, about the good things when working for a big company, I think it's about the salary and experience, and a more stable career that employees may have when that employees may have.
Mm-hmm.
When working for a big company means that you already have a, an adequate amount of knowledge. So when you work for a big company, you may receive a you may receive a suitable salary, maybe even surpass your expectation. And also, when big companies in, include a variety of people, and when you meet them, you will have more experience about working and about and maybe you will like develop strong relationships with them. And the bad things about working for a big company that you may be under great pressure because big companies demand you to work a lot more than smaller one.
Not
Smaller.
all the time, but basically they make workers do overtime a lot, you know. I mean, these days I cannot say that small companies ask their workers not to not work overtime too much. I think all the companies do that, you know. Công ty nào chẳng phải làm vậy. But actually, big companies, it's like a culture. When others work overtime and you do not, you are more scared, you know. And it's harder to say no to overtime. Nó giống như là tâm lý thôi. Em làm về công ty lớn, người ta ai cũng làm overtime, em không làm, em sẽ dễ dàng bị đuổi hơn chẳng hạn. Em sợ vậy. Like if you are scared of that, you know. So there's a lot of pros and cons for working for big or small companies. Small companies, you're always afraid that one day the company will go bankrupt, you know, easily. What else do you want to add?
I think
Hmm?
that's
Yes.
I think that's all.
All right. So the differences between big companies and small companies, can you describe that?
Well, I think the difference when working for big companies, I think employees may have may have to compete more fiercely than people working in small company because I think big companies require um, require more demanding work and
Yes.
you have big companies require more demanding work, so
Mhm.
you have to like work really hard in order to meet the deadline and in order to like live up to the expectations of the boss. Uh, and also when working for big companies, they will have much they will have strict rules about when you can leave the office or when you can uh, but uh, but the small companies they have more flexible work hours, so I
Mhm.
think you will have more free time to you have more free time to do other things in your life when you work for small companies.
Mhm.
Um,
Well, free time, define free time. It's a luxury that a lot of people working for other people cannot afford. It's a luxury that people cannot afford. Nó là một cái điều rất sang chảnh, thời gian rảnh một điều rất sang chảnh của nhiều người khi phải làm việc cho người khác. Actually, yes. Because why? You will always be pushed to do other things, to do a lot of things, you know, until you're really exhausted. That's how working for other people's are. People will try to exploit you know, all the time. Lúc nào cũng là lạm dụng sức lao động đó, của người khác đó. All right, so should companies and corporations have a responsibility to take care of its workforce? What do you think?
Definitely, I think companies and corporations should take care of its workforce. Um, because when you pay attention to your employees' needs or desire, I think, and you satisfy them, the employees will have I think the employees will like more devoted to their work, and they will feel satisfied doing their work because they are pleased with the company policy.
Mhm,
And as a result, the productivity of the company will increase.
mhm,
And if you do not take care of your workforce, if companies do not take care of their workforce, uh, I think the employees will quit their job, and it causes a disruption in the work, and then the company have to spend a lot of time and money recruit and train new people, and it will definitely have has a negative impact on the whole company, and also for the bosses and also for other employees.
Okay, and of course, these days company don't care about your loyalty anymore. They don't care about your loyalty anymore because they can always hire new people. And remember, the longer you stay at a company, the more they have to pay for your what's it called? The more they have to pay you. And also the benefits package, everything, em càng ở lâu công việc ta càng phải trả thêm nhiều hơn. And of course, insurance, everything. Like there are people who got hired and they only work for like 11 months and then they get fired. So it means that you will not enjoy the last month of your contract and you will not enjoy the full year benefits. Người sẽ không có thể hưởng được nguyên cả một cái lợi ích của việc làm việc trong nguyên năm luôn á, tại vì ngay tháng 11 mà nó bị đuổi rồi chẳng hạn. Things happen like that. Working for companies and corporation is never easy. Those people are not decent. Those people are not really good. Not decent không phải người đàng hoàng đâu, mấy người mà công ty lớn các thứ, they're not decent to their workforce. Anyway, let's continue with other things now. Um, so let's try 14. Describe a piece of local news you are interested in. Miêu tả một mẫu tin tức địa phương mà bạn đã hứng thú. You should say what it was about, where you saw or heard it. Tin địa phương nha, local news, okay? And who was involved? Ai đã tham gia vào tin đó? Explain why you were interested in it. Okay? And then part 3 of news. Where do people get the news in your country? Think about social media. Think about word of mouth. Word of mouth, truyền miệng. Like someone say another thing and then, the news spread out. All right, and then think about radio. Radio, of course, through newspapers and TV, of course. And what do you think about those methods? Em nghĩ gì về những phương pháp truyền tin đó? And what kind of news do people like to read? Con người ta thích đọc những loại tin tức gì? How can companies tell the public its news? Like, for example, if a company has a new product or a new service, how can they announce? How can they announce to the public? Thông báo thế nào đến quần chúng những cái thông tin đó nhỉ? How do they do that? Of course, they do it online a lot, and they advertise their products a lot too. Think about that. Okay, and think about how they do that. They often launch. They often launch promotional events too. Có những sự kiện quảng bá, and then they invite celebrities to those events. Mời những người nổi tiếng đến những sự kiện đó. Well, these things happen a lot in Vietnam. What do you think of the news on social media? Bạn nghĩ gì về những tin tức trên truyền thông? Well, think about how if there are fake news or not. If people try to make up story, dựng chuyện, if they make up stories in order to maybe destroy someone else, these things happen a lot. Fake news happen a lot on social media. And think about verification of news. Sự kiểm chứng thông tin. Think about verification of news. Is there a way to verify if they are real or fake? And think about the fact that every day you see things online, a lot of things online. What do you think about public shaming of fake news? Public shaming, việc làm nhục mạ người khác trên mạng, việc làm nhục mạ người khác ở nơi công cộng. Well, it includes like body shaming, it includes body shaming, telling that someone is fat or ugly, something like that, or short or too tall, something like that, it's public shaming. It's includes body shaming as well. Of course, people can do that in different ways. It can be subtle, nó có thể nó nhẹ nhẹ, mình nhiều khi không nói rõ ra. It can be subtle or it can be in a very rude way. What do you think about public shaming of fake news? Em nghĩ gì về chuyện đó và tin tức giả trên mạng? All right, could they cause any harm? Of course, they could cause real harm or something like that. You give examples. Okay, have some time now. Okay, Ms. Thư, please describe a piece of local news that you were interested in. Can you? Past tense, be careful with the verbs.
Yeah, I would like to talk about a local news that I heard from my friends last week. It was about the destruction of our city's park.
What park was it like? Or what is the name of the park? Do you remember?
Vị Xuyên Park.
Which one?
Vị Xuyên Park.
Oh, it's in the north, right?
Yeah. In our city, it is the only park, and it was not really maintained well. Uh, Instead of using it as a leisure place, people always dump rubbish and litter everywhere. So, as a result, the park became
Full of
the park
trash.
was no longer an attraction. Yeah, was no longer an attraction. Therefore, the authority was planning to renovate it.
Mm-hmm.
They decided to destroy the entire park to reconstruct it with new furniture and new attractions. And they also bring out laws that
Yes.
forbid people's littering in order to like make the park look greener and cleaner for the residents and also for visitors. Uh, the news the news had the news interested me a lot because as a kid I remember myself
A child.
as a child I remember myself playing in that park, but I could no longer do that the in because of the environment. But now I can gladly enjoy the fresh air there, and although it's not although it's not constructed yet, but I think I can see a clear future, a good future of this park.
Mm-hmm. All right. So what do people get? Where do people get the news in your country?
I think people in my country get the news from various sources.
Mm-hmm,
It can be from social media or newspapers, radio, TV, or by word of mouth.
mm-hmm,
Uh, and I think all of these sources can provide people with a large amount of information that are, I think all of these sources can provide people with a lot of information from all around the world.
mm-hmm,
Um, Social media can be the main source of information as technology develops and more people are like more and more people own a smartphone or a computer and they get information from that. But also there are some older people, maybe the 70s or the 80s, they rely on radio because they cannot see, their vision is not clear, and they can only hear about the information through radios.
mm-hmm. I don't think so because a lot of old people now they go on social media a lot, you know. So old people they don't like new technology, but once they are used to it, they use it even more than young people. Trust me. Người già thật sự là ta ít khi nào ta muốn cái công nghệ mới, nhưng mà một khi đã quen rồi là họ xài dã man xài luôn á. Họ xài còn nhiều hơn người trẻ nhiều luôn á. Well, that's how things are. And I have seen those cases, a lot of cases like that. Now, so what kind of news do people like to read then?
There are a variety of news that people like to read. They vary from political news, um, or historical events, or like events going around the world, and maybe about, and it can also be like drama from famous people. These kinds of news attract a large amount of people. Stories about famous people can, I think, they can greatly attract young people
Mm-hmm,
as as the young people, they are fascinated by the drama, and they are curious. They want to know what is going on with their favorite singer or actors. And
mm-hmm,
but there are also some people who are interested
mm-hmm.
in political events, or like some political events like war, or some uh, economic
Economic.
situations economic situations around the world. I think
Mm-hmm. The
uh,
economic situation around the world and also in our country is also important to know because everything is well connected these days. So if one country encounter a war or if there is problem, so all the remaining countries in the world will be affected more or less, you know, because we are very well connected in the whole system now in this global economy, in this global economy, because we have what's it called? Globalization is happening right now. So if there's a war, like for example, the Ukraine war, you know, for example, the Ukraine war with Russia, the whole world would be affected. You know why the price of food in Vietnam is increasing is also due to partly the Ukraine war. and everything is increasing in price now in Vietnam, partly because of this war too. So we have to read news these days, you know? Okay, so how can companies tell the public it's news then?
Well, to tell the public it's news, I think companies will use advertisements. They can advertise through social media or through some advertisements on TV. Because I think because I believe that uh, when they public a news, when they public their news, advertising will give them a chance to to convey a message to their buyers, so that they can so that more and more people will buy their products. They can also launch promotional events, and uh, and during those events they will invite celebrities to them, and because it will attract many people to notice those products of the companies.
Okay, so think about what I told you about events, promotional events in Vietnam. So they invited some celebrities there to open the event and also some singing as well in order to attract more and more people to those promotional events. And you know, in Vietnam, there's a lot of game shows and competitions, right? These are just a way for companies to tell the public it's news. And of course, it's a way to advertise the image of the company to the public. Chỉ một cách để công ty quảng bá thôi, mấy cuộc chơi này nọ, cuộc thi này. Well, and of course, things are a little bit more, these things are a bit worse than that because those competitions and events, they're not for talents, of course. Talent shows are not for talents. Basically, the prices are bought. Người ta mua giải quá trời luôn á. The prices are bought by people. So real talented people, when they join this event, they will not win. That's the thing. Well, so next question. What do you think of the news on social media? What do you think? Are they trustworthy?
I
Something
think
like that?
the news on social media can be divided in two types. They can be fake news, and but some of them can be trustworthy.
Mm-hmm.
On social media, many people will make up stories in order to attract people's attention to them, and then they may gain some advantage over the news,
Mm-hmm.
like they want to have fame or to have money from because they want to have fame. And when they have fame, many brands will hire them uh, to advertise
Products.
their products.
Mhm.
Sometimes it can be a good thing, but sometimes uh, they are too concerned about the money, and they do not pay attention to the quality. So when people believe that, it will definitely causes a lot of harm to many people. But some of the news are can be trustworthy because
Mhm.
they may be from governmental websites, or it can be from um, like good people who just want to express their opinions and uh, do not intend to cause harm.
Mhm.
So yeah, I think the news on social media is um, trustworthy and maybe not unreliable at the same time in some cases.
Mhm. I see. I see. So, what do you think about fake news and public shaming these days?
Well, I think it is well. I think public shaming and fake news are pretty popular these days. Mm, Many people want to judge other people's weight or height or uh, maybe their social status, their jobs. And I think it is not a good behavior because it will heavily affect the people who are judged. It will cause them to feel shameful, to feel shameful and to feel like not and to think not highly of themselves, and it can lead to some kind of mental issues like depression, or some people can even commit suicide because they cannot deal with the pressure.
Social
And
pressure is not easy, and a
yeah,
lot of the time, whenever you walk out of a home, you are bullied. You feel like the whole world is against you. And of course, like you said, people can commit suicide. It happens a lot in the South Korea society. You've heard about news of that. A lot of people they die because of public shaming and fake news against them. Now, so let's continue to another topic. Okay, let's try 36. Describe a time when you got close to animals. Animals here means like it can be wild animals, it can be pets, it can be domesticated animals, domesticated animal. Domesticated animals mean they are forced to work for human already, and they are used to work with humans, and they live together with humans. You also have the term tamed animals. For example, if an animal is tamed, it doesn't mean that it lives in the same house as humans. Thuần hóa là một chuyện, chưa hẳn là nó được đem vô sống chung với người nha. You have to tame it first before you can domesticate any animal. Otherwise, they are really wild. Now, describe a time when you got close to animals. Miêu tả một thời điểm mà bạn lại gần với động vật. You should say where you were, what the animals were doing, who were with you, and explain what your reaction was. And then part three of wild animals. So, what are the differences between animals in zoos and those in the wild? Khác biệt gì giữa động vật trong sở thú và động vật ở nơi mà hoang dã? Think about their health. Think about the fact that do they have the freedom? Think about medical treatment. Do they receive that? Think about nutrition. Về dinh dưỡng thì sao? Think about And also think about lifespan. Vòng đời của nó sống được nhiêu lâu? How long is the lifespan? Like, for example, if a cat live in the wild, they can live maximum 5 years before some diseases or get them, or they got eaten, or um, they get killed, something like that. But if a cat live with human, they can live up to 20 years or even more if you want. Think about that. Now, next one. Why should the staff in the zoos teach the public about animals? Tại sao nhân viên trong sở thú nên dạy quần chúng về động vật vậy? So think about, does it help to raise awareness or not? To raise awareness of environmental protection? Does it help to raise to help people understand better about how to treat animals? Something like that. And also, a lot of people, they don't know, but they think that they know, and then they feed the animals food that they should not. Like, for example, you should never feed chocolate to animals, because that is toxic for them. Avocado is also toxic for some animals too. You know that, Miss Thư? Chocolate and avocado are bad for birds, cats, and dogs. They are toxic for them. So if you feed them those things and they accidentally ate those food that you gave them, they can die. And of course, that is real bad for the zoo. Think about, you need to stay a large distance away from animals for your safety. Because a lot of people, they don't care about safety, when they go to the zoo that much. Like they approach tigers and lions. People don't care. That is terrible, And things happened in the past. Things have happened in the past. Like some people that died when they try to approach animals like that in a zoo. Now, so why are people keen on feeding zoo animals, even though it's forbidden to do so? You know why it's forbidden, right? Tại sao con người ta là cứ khoái là cứ cho động vật trong sở thú ăn vậy, mặc dù là chuyện nó bị cấm? It's forbidden because why? Those zoos animals are well fed. They are not hungry, okay? They are fed very regularly. Sorry. Okay, I should write here. They are well fed. They are not hungry. And also, a lot of human food can be dangerous to animals. And feeding a zoo animal can endanger yourself. You can endanger yourselves if you feed wild animal, especially, let's say an elephant. You can endanger yourself. Nguy hiểm đó nha, cho nó ăn không có đơn giản đâu. Actually, it's dangerous for you if you do that. And okay, but the question asks why, why people keep on doing that? Is it because people think that these animals are trapped and basically they're hungry all the time? Or sometimes people think that these animals are cute, You have to think of the reason why. Now, how can the increase of the human population influence wild animals? Sự gia tăng của quần thể dân số loài người ảnh hưởng gì đến động vật hoang dã? I'm sure you know the answer for this one. You've learned them in biology. Think about deforestation. Sự phá rừng. Think about the fact that soil erosion happens because of deforestation. Soil erosion. Think about the fact that many forests are cut down, no natural habitats for animals anymore. Think about that. And think about extinction of wild species. Sự tuyệt chủng của những giống loài hoang dã. The extinction of wild species. Mhm. And think about other things like that. Human also cause pollution, of course, a lot of pollution as well. Think about that. But of course, wherever the humans, they are food, right? Có con người là có đồ ăn. So wild animals often go to human as well, and it can cause danger. Có nhiều khi con gấu nó về bản làng nó phá nha. Like there are sometimes bears, tigers, and other dangerous wild animals. They come and visit villages, because they want food. And of course, human will try to shoot them to defend themselves, and then of course they die. That is way better. That is so bad. It's bad for human and it's bad for the animal too. Cả hai đều chết. So think about those things. Okay, you have some time to think about 36 now. Okay, Mr. Please describe a time when you got close to animals.
Well, I would like to talk about the time I went to the zoo in Hanoi City about 2 years ago. I was going with my family as a
Mhm.
holiday. So we decided to visit the zoo. It was really famous at that time. And there I saw a lion in person. I have always been fascinated by this species because of its majestic appearance and its power. It is also called the king of the forest. So I think it is really strong and powerful, and I like it. Um, and there, the lion was eating maybe some kind of meat, and but I visited during daytime, so it wasn't really active. And because I heard that they are more active during the night because it's their time to hunt and it's their time to hunt and do their activities,
Say what?
because it's their time like when they are active and when they hunt during nighttime.
Ah, I see. Anything else?
Yeah, and when I saw it, I felt really excited because I could see it in person.
Mm.
I Before that I could only see it through videos, and when I actually see it, I think it was really big, and but I think it was also like majestic because it has the beautiful mane and it roars pretty
Mhm.
pretty loudly, and I love the powerful vibe of it.
Okay, I see. So let's come to part 3 now. So what are the differences between animals in zoos and those in the wild then?
Well, I think there are about three main differences between animals in zoos and those in the wild. They are freedom, med- medical treatment, and nutrition. Well, animals in the zoo, they are captivated. They are captivated smaller smaller spaces than those in the wild. And they are only restricted to that one area, and they cannot go any further than as those in the wild, which which can like travel as far as they want. And also about the medical treatment, I think animals in zoos receive better medical treatment, and be, because they are considered a source of income for people operating the zoos. So definitely,
Operating the zoos, yeah.
yeah, because and they need to be taken care of well in order to like attract other people, because if they are not well, then people will not then visitors will not may not think maybe and if the animals in the zoos are not well, then maybe that maybe the employers will not receive the zoos will not receive much reputation, and as a result less people will visit the zoo. uh, and about nutrition, I think animals in zoos have a much more special uh, diets than those in the wild, because they must be taken care well to like live healthy and long enough, so that the owners of the zoo do not have to look for other animals in the wild, because it
In the
costs
wild.
in the wild because
Mhm.
it costs too much money. But
It
those
doesn't
in the
just cost too
wild,
much
they
money, I think. Remember, where the money come to the zoo, it's from the taxpayers, you know, it's of course come from the tax. And taxpayers money, tiền của người trả thuế chứ đâu. And of course, maintaining the zoo, it takes a lot of money to hire professional people, you know. Those in the walls, you don't have to take care of them, of course. But zoos are there for a reason. Nó có lý do tại sao có zoo chứ. Think about that. Think about nutrition. And if they are sick, would they receive immediate medical treatment, something like that? At the cost of their freedom, of course. Cái giá phải trả là cái tự do của nó thôi. At the cost of their freedom, of course. Now, so why should the staff in the zoos teach the public about animals? What do you think?
well, I think when people visit the zoos, they may want to like have better knowledge about animals. So when the staff teach the public about animals, they will have more knowledge about those species, and as a result, it can raise their awareness. It can help them to um, it can help them to uh, protect those
Yes.
animals,
Mm-hmm.
have a deeper knowledge about those animals, and
Mm-hmm.
also it's about and also to protect those animals. It they can it is also about protecting the environment. So when teaching people about animals, they will know that they will know what to do in order to like protect those animals. And when protect those animals, it sometimes means that they are protecting themselves.
Okay. So, it's also about protecting themselves as well from their ignorance, because people are often ignorant, you know. Con người ta thường ngu dốt, nói thiệt, và họ không biết điều này điều kia. Of course, and then they can endanger themselves by their own ignorance. And also by their own ignorance, they can harm animals in the zoos, of course. So why are people keen on feeding zoo animals, even though it is forbidden to do so?
Well, I think the main reason why people want want to feed zoo animals, even though
Mhm.
it is forbidden, is because they are curious. Well, when visiting the zoo, of course, anyone will want to like see the wild animals in person, like to see how they eat, how they behave. So, uh, many people will like try to take advantage of it. They want to actually, uh, they want to feed the animals themselves, so that they will like have the experience of uh, feeding those animals. They want to know how it feels. And I think this can I think this can seriously harm the animals, because many people they feed inappropriate type of food, and some animals can be
Yes.
and some kind of foods are not appropriate for those animals, and sometimes uh, they will come down with diseases, and sometimes it could even lead to their death.
Okay, so um, how can the increase, let's say, how can the increase of the human population influence wild animals then?
I think the increase of the human population will have a negative impact on
Negative
wild
impact.
animals.
Negative impacts.
Impact on wild animals. Well, when the population increases, it can they will need more space to live, or they will need more space to live, so they can burn forests, burn forests, in order to construct new buildings or new leisure places for their own purposes. And this can destroy a large number of natural habitats. And when losing and many wild animals will lose their home, and they will find it hard to find a substitute for their find a substitute to live in. And soon I think it will lead to their uh, extinction.
Mhm.
And also when the population increases, uh, they will need mm, they will need to they will need more food. So I think they will like feed on wild animals,
Mhm.
and uh, gradually I think the wild animals uh, will be severely affected.
Mhm. Of course, they're severely affected to the point that they go extinct. They become extinct. Remember, extinction, it's a very common thing these days. Every day there are a few animals that become extinct. So that's why less and less biodiversity you can see. And of course, it can affect human in the long run, of course. All right, I think it's time now we can stop here. All right, so all right, Mr. is over. That's it for this week.